I am Justin Goes to Hollywood, and this very podcast is technically an act of treason, or as we like to call it, Monday.
And I'm Mally Moore. Our mission, if we choose to accept it, is to find the silver lining in some of cinema's bleakest endings.
I like that. That was nice and clean.
Like that?
Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to the Silver Linings playlist. If you're a regular listener to our show, you'll notice that Nathan's not here. Last time I checked.
Yeah, he's been disavowed.
He's been disavowed. The last time I heard from him, he was on the Sevastopol, buried in the Bering Sea.
Yeah.
We don't know if we'll ever hear from him again.
Nathan has initiated ghost protocol.
He sure has. That's okay. JT's here too. Hello, JT.
Hey, guys.
JT is our entity, basically, just operating from the shadows.
I am the worst entity.
Yeah. Unlike this movie, our entity chugs peanut butter.
That's what I'm known for.
I can't believe it took over 200 episodes for us to finally talk about this franchise.
I realize this is the first time I've talked to JT, I think, since the wedding.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Well, how you doing, bud?
Yeah, man.
So, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1? Question mark?
But there is no Part 2.
There is no Part 2. We'll never get a finale to that.
There is no Part 2.
So, Mally, this is your pick.
Yeah.
Dead Reckoning Part 1. You want to tell me why you picked this one to cover on the show?
I've been debating trying to talk my way into doing a Mission Impossible on this podcast for years, and finally this was the easiest one that qualified.
Yeah, I agree.
Although arguments could be made for other ones.
I think one in Ghost Protocol you can make some pretty easy arguments for.
Yeah.
But no, this one is definitely the easiest.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're about to start making arguments for a lot of movies we just want to do.
It sure does.
That's 100%. We are not even trying at this point.
Yeah.
Not even. But no, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Has anyone here seen Final Reckoning? I'm assuming you have, Mally.
I actually have not, but I've read 1,000 reviews and I did listen. So McQuarrie, love him or hate him, the dude loves talking about his movies.
He sure does.
For Rogue Nation, he did a 3-hour interview for Empire. For Fallout, it was a 6-hour. For this one, it was between 10 and 12.
The man likes to talk.
They released part 1 for Final Reckoning, which I think was 3 hours. So yeah, it's going to be long. I've listened to the Rogue Nation one. I've listened to the Fallout. I didn't make it through the full 12 hours of the Dead Reckoning one.
Sure.
But I will listen. Once I see Final Reckoning, I'll start listening to that. Yeah, love him or hate him, the dude is very open and honest about making these movies, and I kind of love him for it.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I was about to say, how do y'all feel about that? Like, you have some directors and stuff like that are just like, whatever.
I love his interviews because it's just the insight into the making of these movies is incredibly fascinating.
Yeah. I feel like I'm not anti-McQuarrie. What I'm anti is how he kind of took over the franchise. And not that it was a bad thing, but I think what made this franchise so interesting and special was for those first 5 movies, they were always different directors. They always had a different look and feel to them. The formula didn't really get established, I think, until maybe Brad Bird's output. Maybe that's
100% when they found the formula.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was fun that like Tom Cruise would just go in like, I want to work with John Woo now. I want to work with J.J. Abrams now. Like that was what made it fun. And yeah.
And again, you can argue with me on this, but I will say McQuarrie is very aware of that. And he even says on the Fallout podcast, he's like, that has always been Mission Impossible's thing, is like a different director. So going into Fallout, he's like, I'm the first person to ever do 2 of these. I don't want to make Rogue Nation again. Like, I want Fallout to feel different. And I think Rogue Nation and Fallout, I mean, those movies are lightning in a bottle for me.
Yeah.
I think those 2 back to back is fantastic. And it does feel like they feel like very different movies.
They sure do.
This one, I don't know, man. Dead Reckoning didn't do it for me.
I like this movie, but I do feel, I feel like McQuarrie maybe he doesn't know how to bring this thing home, and I can't blame him because then you have Tom Cruise being like, well, Jeremy Renner will be the one to take over this franchise. Oops, just kidding. I'm going to keep around doing these things until I'm 90 or whatever. And
to be fair, that wasn't Tom Cruise's idea.
Sure. But it just feels like they're trying to set up a swan song, and it's, as much as I like this movie, it is a rocky start, and I think you can equate that to the part 1 of it all. It also feels like this movie, and I don't even think it feels like, I think it's pretty much slapping you in the face with it. This movie is Tom Cruise's way of telling AI in the industry to go fuck itself. Like, there's sublines of dialogue that are basically him just being like, I will never fuck with AI in any of these movies ever, and anything I do.
And it's funny because McQuarrie, I think, is more known as a writer, and this movie feels overwritten but underwritten at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
It kind of goes from like, you know, scene to scene. Like, this scene works, this scene needed another polish, you know?
Well, it's weird because, like, with Fallout, and I think most people know this by now, they wrote that movie as, like, Rogue Nation to an extent, but Fallout definitely, they pretty much wrote it as they were shooting it. And I feel like they tried to do that same thing with this one, and I don't think it worked in their favor as much. Like, Fallout, like, again, I think DC, you have different thoughts on Fallout, but Fallout to me, very, very tight movie.
Yeah.
This one feels a little all over the place.
I don't disagree with that.
And plus, they also kill off my favorite character, which we'll get into.
Yeah. I don't dislike Fallout. It just seems like that seems to be everyone's favorite, which is, I don't have an argument against it. If that's your favorite, by all means, that's a very worthy movie. I am in the minority, I think, based on the public opinion about it, but 3 is my favorite, which I know is like a huge outlier. But after that, it's mostly the McQuarrie ones. It's Rogue Nation and Fallout and things like that. I find Ghost Protocol to be my least favorite, which I know is also a bit of an outlier opinion. But
I didn't love Ghost Protocol when I first saw it, because I remember I went to see Ghost Protocol in the theater solely. It was when I lived in Chicago, and I went to see it in IMAX at the Navy Pier solely because The Dark Knight Rises prologue was playing before it. And I was like, fuck it, you know, I'll pay $30 to go see that. And then I was like, oh, I mean, I paid $30. I'm going to stay for Mission Impossible. Or they're still making these? Okay, cool. And then, like, I sat through it. I was like, that was entertaining. Okay. And then I rewatched it a couple years later, I think, when Fallout was coming out, because I didn't see Rogue Nation in theaters, but I rewatched them all going into Fallout, and I was like, yo, Ghost Protocol kind of rips.
It's okay.
And then Rogue Nation fucking ruled.
I mean, all these movies, to some extent, kind of fuck. Even 2, which I know a lot of people don't like.
It's still entertaining as hell.
It's entertaining.
That movie is such a product of its time.
And it has maybe the most insane stunt to me out of this entire franchise, which is the
getting blown sideways.
Well, no, the knife plunge almost into Tom Cruise's eye. Which,
right.
If you don't know, that shot, the very famous shot of just Tom Cruise's eyeball with a knife blade a 1/4 inch away, is a real knife with a real man on the other side trying his hardest to shove it into Tom Cruise's eye. And they like rigged it up perfectly where like that knife would not move even with the weight of that guy pushing down on it. And it's an incredible fucking shot. And this man is just actively trying to die on camera, and God bless him for it. What I will say though about rewatching this one, because I rewatched all of these movies up until when this one was coming out, just to get a handle on the franchise, because this was a franchise I never latched on completely to until probably Fallout. Like, I liked them, but it was always passively liking them.
Right.
And so I did a rewatch of them before this one, and there's something. This is not a new take or anything, but there is something deeply troublesome about watching this movie when it came out in 2023 versus watching it in 2025, and just how much AI has grown exponentially in just those 2 years. And the briefing scene early on in this movie, before the opening credits hit in like 30 minutes in, when you have like the CIA talking to Carrie Elways, and just the way they lay it all out is haunting. Like, I shared this with you guys in the group chat, but for those who haven't seen it, there was this Vulture article that...
For those of you who haven't seen our group chat...
For those who haven't seen this Vulture article that came out probably a couple weeks ago by the time this episode comes out...
You're missing some comedy gold.
There was this article that came out in Vulture that said that pretty much every studio in Hollywood is using AI to some extent or another, even if they won't admit it. And I can't get behind... Generative AI is usually my big beef. Like, I don't mind like the stuff like, you know, in editing software to help you like remove something, or, you know, like remove that tree or something. Like, that can be helpful.
Right.
It should be a tool, not a crutch. But the generative stuff, I can't fucking deal with. And I feel like this movie is Tom Cruise saying that. Like, again, I've said there's multiple lines that we'll talk about that are him saying that. But like, he, as problematic as Tom Cruise is, which we can't ignore that, he is like the only, or at least he's the major voice in pioneering making movies practically the right way. And once he's gone, I don't know who will pick up the mantle for that. And that's kind of worrisome to me.
Well, it also ties in with that interview a few weeks ago, too, where he basically admitted to tricking the studios into filming again in late 2020. Did you read about that?
I haven't seen that article, but that actually brings me to my next point that I wanted to ask. This is the one Mission Impossible movie where that on-set rant from him leaked out, right? It was this one? Yeah.
And fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely fuck yeah to that rant.
Might be a hot take. He was 100% right in that fucking rant.
I don't know if that's a hot take.
I just remember people hear it out of context and they're like, oh, he's just ranting and it's Tom Cruise being crazy. No, the man was 100% right about that fucking rant.
Oh, 100%. But no, he did an interview where he basically was like, you know, I called the studio guy at this other studio and I was like, oh, we're shooting. Are you guys shooting? And they're like, oh no, we're still on lockdown. He's like, oh, well, we're shooting. So, just FYI.
Yeah.
And then, a week later, he hears that studio's shooting something. So he called this studio and was like, hey, they're shooting. So we should probably shoot.
I mean, the man knows how to work the system.
Straight up played them against each other. I'm like, man, say what you will about him. He's done crazy shit. Scientology is working some kind of miracle for him because the man's a machine.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, again, we acknowledge he's problematic. We can bypass that for this discussion. But yeah, the fact that he is like one of the very, very few voices in this industry championing this whole industry.
Well, and I know people that have worked on movies with him and they're nothing but good things about him.
I've heard the same thing.
It's wild.
But about the AI of it all, like when these agents, we're going to come back in just a second, but when we're talking about these agents that are telling Carrie Elways that like the entity is in our satellite communications, it's in the stock market. And again, in 2025, when all I can think about now is how fucking Doge basically did all of this with our personal information, and it wasn't even AI, it was just a bunch of dipshits doing it.
Yeah.
Like putting that power into something we don't even understand. The fact that there's basically no regulation on AI is what I'm getting at. It's fucking bananas. It's just like when crypto first came out and there was no regulations on it and people got their fucking livelihood stolen from them and everything. And like, we are steamrolling into an AI-driven world, even though it's fucking garbage. Like, there are jobs you can get that are just review what this AI did and see if it's right or not. I'm like, well, then what the fuck good is it if I have to be the one reviewing it? And it's, I don't know. We're simultaneously doing this while also turning old enemies into allies and old allies into aggressors, like this movie says. And I just want to die. I want to fucking die. I don't want to be around anymore. So that's it. That's our episode. Thank you for listening, everybody. Tune in next week. No, let's get into the info dump because it seems like we're itching to talk about this thing.
Oh yeah. Hang on, JT. This is the first Mission Impossible movie you'd ever seen, right?
Yeah, actually, that's funny you said because for those who are not in our group chat.
You're missing out, by the way.
I've never seen a Mission Impossible movie until this one. And I don't know why. And I was thinking about that while I was watching it. And again, poor judgment on my part. I just kind of lumped it in with just other action movies. And it just didn't seem like my thing.
Yeah.
But watching it, it was like, this is fun.
They're
Like
fun.
Oh, dude, they're on a different fucking level, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so it's like 007 meets like Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
And I don't mean that as an insult at all.
Sure. No, that's funny because this was a franchise that even though it was like each film was successful, it took kind of a while for it to like catch steam and like really penetrate the public consciousness of like, oh, this is like a franchise and a thing that is here to stay and to take seriously. Kind of like how Fast and Furious did as well. It took them like, what, 4 movies?
Well, I remember like Mission Impossible 1, like it was one of the action staples. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I saw that there was all these sequels. I was like, I don't care enough to watch it.
It took a while. It took a while for the formula to set in and people to understand what these things were doing.
The good thing about this franchise, though, is that with the exception of maybe Fallout, which even then I think you get enough backstory to understand, but you could throw on any one of them and you're fine. Like they are all like, even though like Rogue Nation, Fallout, Dead Reckoning Part 1,
Mhm.
and Final Reckoning, and even to an extent Ghost Protocol, because McQuarrie rewrote most of that movie. Like, even though McQuarrie's involved in 5 of them, they're all still pretty standalone.
Yeah.
Like, you could jump in at any point and you get enough story to understand what you need to know.
Right before you joined the call, I was talking to Dustin. I was like, yeah, dude, if you just ignore the flashbacks and stuff like that, it's really good. And he's like, yeah, all those flashbacks, that's just for this movie. I was
Yeah.
what? Huh?
He was like, I was going to take notes, but when it started with the flashbacks and Gabriel and all that, I just couldn't keep up. I was like, buddy, that was introduced for this movie. We're 7 movies in and we're getting backstory.
That's bold.
Yeah.
Which, quick spoiler for what I know about Final Reckoning. So if you haven't seen it, stop listening for the next 10 seconds. Those flashbacks don't come back up.
That's not surprising to me because
those are never brought up again.
They all are self-contained things. JT, would it surprise you to know that at one point in this franchise,
I am tired of being asked. After last week's episode, I'm sick of being asked. Would you be surprised?
Would you be surprised to know that he gets married, has a wife, and then decides that they can't be together because it's too dangerous? And then this movie just completely ignores that she's around. He's like, oh no, he had this other love interest well before her. Like, none of this shit matters. None of it matters.
Well, they also, in Fallout, they talk about how like Ethan's only ever really cared for 2 women.
Yep.
His wife and you. Talking to Ilsa.
Yep.
And then I'm just sitting here like, oh, so Thandie Newton and Mission Impossible 2 didn't mean shit?
That didn't matter.
Again, going back to that McQuarrie podcast, he addressed it. He's like, I know about Thandie Newton. We didn't forget, but I would have had to do a whole line of whole dialogue explaining Thandie Newton, and this movie just did not have time for that.
Well, you can also chalk that up to is that really a woman he quote unquote cares about to that level?
It was the early 2000s. Yeah. Everyone was fucking around.
They were having a fling. That's different than caring about somebody, I think, especially Tom Cruise doing it with him.
It's pretty brave for him to be like, yeah, we know. We just didn't care. And neither do y'all.
You don't care.
And let's be honest with ourselves.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I didn't care at all.
No, I want to see him climb this glass building.
Exactly.
Now shut up.
So how Fallout was written was during Rogue Nation, they were just like, we want to do a helicopter chase. Okay, what country will let us do it? Well, New Zealand. Okay, well, New Zealand's not like a political hotbed. What does it look like? It kind of looks like Kashmir. It's like, okay, so the movie ends with a helicopter chase in Kashmir.
Yep.
How do we get to that point?
Yep.
And just because Tom was like, I want to do a helicopter chase.
Is there is there in all these movies, there's like one big stunt that is known for?
More or less.
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Fallout had the helicopter chase and the halo jump.
The halo jump, yeah.
This one has the bike off the cliff.
Yep.
Well, I know the iconic scene with in the first one where he's hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Well, that one, and I was going to say the train jump is a pretty big stunt in that one, but that's not really practical, I don't think.
Well, the stunt that really started it all was when he first, in Mission Impossible 1, when he meets Kittredge after the failed mission, and he runs out of the building as all the glass.
Right, the aquarium, yeah.
A stunt double was supposed to do it, and the director was like, it'd look cooler if you did it, Tom. And Tom was like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what started him on this whole
Death Wish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to keep going bigger and bigger.
2 has him free solo climbing the side of a mountain.
Yeah.
As well as the knife plunge thing. And then, they all just, from, I think when we got to like the Burj Khalifa, like that started like, okay, every one of these is going to have a big set piece.
I think his name is Wiz Khalifa.
Absolutely. For sure.
So I'm just going off trailers, and I remember the trailer of this one is the dirt bike off the mountain.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the big one for this, for sure.
I know there's one now. I don't know how much of this was practical, but I remember, and again, I don't know which one, but he's like full sprinting like towards the camera, and this massive explosion is just going on around him.
That's
That's all of them. That's every single one. Well, and then Ghost Protocol, he's hanging outside the world's tallest building. Rogue Nation is him on the outside of the plane as it takes off.
He holds onto the side of the plane, yeah.
What's the one where he's climbing the glass building?
That's Burj Khalifa, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's Ghost Protocol where he's outside the building.
Yeah. Not a bad movie. Again, it's just my least favorite of all of these.
Okay, that was my one question. We can go back to the info start. We'll start this over.
Okay.
This is the Silver Linings playlist of podcast.
So yeah, the year is 2023. As we mentioned, the director is Christopher McQuarrie. You might know him as having uncredited writing work on Batman and Robin and nothing else. The movie stars, of course, Tom Cruise, Haley Atwell, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, Vanessa Kirby, I can't pronounce that, Henry Czerny.
Nailed it.
Esai Morales, Palm Clementine, Carrie Elways, and Shea Whigham. The budget, $291 million, managed to gross $571 million worldwide, has a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Yeah. Nominated for 2 Academy Awards, Best Sound, which it lost to The Zone of Interest.
Fair.
That's fair. And Best Visual Effects, which, if you remember, lost to Godzilla -1. It was nominated.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not done.
Well, you did like the slow lead up.
No, that's fine. Nominated for the same 2 awards at the BAFTAs. It lost to Zone of Interest again for sound, but this time lost to Poor Things for visual effects, and was nominated for 1 Golden Globe, the Cinematic and Box Office Achievement Award, which it lost to Barbie.
All of those are fair.
Absolutely fair.
Well, and is it next year or 2027 they're introducing the stunt category at the Oscars?
Yeah, I don't know if it starts at the next Academy Awards or if it's the following year. I can't remember.
Because I feel like they're like, if Tom's going to keep making these movies, just, give it to him every year at this point. Like,
rename it the Tom Cruise Award.
Yeah.
Just give it to him every year.
Or at least have Tom Cruise be the one to give it out.
Yeah. Let's watch the trailer because I don't even remember seeing this trailer. So I'm curious to see what it looks like.
Our lives are the sum of our choices. And we cannot escape the past.
God, that man loves to run.
Loves it.
Ethan,
Maybe that's it. That's why he stays so young. He just full sprints everywhere.
More like Tom Sprint.
God damn it.
Shut the fuck up.
The world is changing. Truth is vanishing. War is coming.
I wonder if Rebecca Ferguson asked to be written out because she's busy doing
I can confirm she did.
Yeah, because she's doing Silo and everything else. So
Well, it's just the way they make these movies is just,
yeah,
there is no schedule. It's just like,
be available.
you're on call for 2 years, basically.
Yeah,
But no, that is actually 100% true. She did request to be killed off.
makes sense.
And unlike what they did to Matt Damon in Ocean's 12, when he asked to have a smaller role, they actually appeased her instead of giving her a bigger role, which is what happened to him.
If anything happens to them, there's no place that I won't go to kill you. That is written.
I mean, the man knows how to make things that look good on screen.
Yeah.
Like on a giant screen.
Your life will always matter more to me than my own.
They don't do slow-mo a lot in these movies, but that scene was pretty great.
That one works.
I am vengeance. I mean, it's serviceable.
Yeah, not a bad trailer.
It works. Yeah.
It sure feels like a Mission Impossible movie.
Just thinking after watching the trailer, I was like thinking about how overdone like car chases are.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause, like especially when they make that like the main focal point. Now, granted, if it's a part of the movie, it's part of the movie. But in this one, I love how unique that some of the stuff was. Like the train scene was great. The really narrow alley scene. I mean, I have notes on that. That could be better, but
well, that's what they kind of do a big car chase in every one of these movies, and it's different every time, and it's always awesome. Like the Fallout car chase is great.
Yeah.
The one in Ghost Protocol through the sandstorms, fucking rad.
That one's awesome. I like that one.
This one is hilarious
Mhm.
with the tiny little fucking Fiat.
yeah.
Oh, we'll definitely talk about all that stuff. But I think what makes it interesting is like they managed to keep doing it over and over. Like the train stuff. Like how many times has Ethan Hunt now fought on a train, like on top of it? And it's always interesting. Same thing with like the motorcycle stuff. Like in Fallout, what's so fun is like he kind of loses in that chase. Like he gets hit by a car while riding a motorcycle and just rolls off the top of it. Yeah, it is interesting how they keep managing to make the stunts better. And also, you talk about his uniqueness. It's super funny to me that this comes out the same year as Fast X, which has the same set piece location, which are those stairs
Yeah.
that they roll the Fiat down. It's so funny. Real quick before we get into the actual plot of this thing, I guess this would be maybe one of the only times I can actually talk about it. But I'll tell you guys real quick my Mission Impossible Fallout story. I was working at a trailer house when Fallout came out. And oftentimes when a studio is sending over a feature for a trailer house to work on, they'll do it one of two ways. They'll either send you a feature, like a full-length feature, all the reels stitched together, and then they'll just send you updated versions of that. Or sometimes, what happened in this case, they'll send you dailies. And when they send you dailies, you kind of have to build the movie based off a working script that they give you. So you're kind of like, it's a little bit of a creative flair for the AEs to do, is you get to build the movie based on a script in the editing bay. And one of the dailies, I don't think this is speaking out of turn or out of school, but one of the dailies is funny because McQuarrie would run the camera, sure you're getting sound and footage and everything before he would yell action for a little bit of time, just to kind of get into the mood of things. And there was one, it's in Fallout when Ethan is pretending to be John Lark and he's in the White Widow's office and they're discussing the plan to break out Sean Harris.
Oh, yeah.
And the scene is everybody is dead still. Everybody's dead quiet. They're waiting for the scene to start. And it's just Tom Cruise. And he's got his eyes closed and he's clearly trying to collect himself. And because the sound's attached, we can hear there's nothing happening on set as far as I could tell. But at some point before Christopher McQuarrie yells action, Tom Cruise just got his eyes closed. He just looks up and he turns around and he goes, "Can you guys just keep it down, please? We're trying to get into the mood here. We're trying to get everything set up. Thank you." And I didn't hear a goddamn thing. Nobody was moving. It's just all these extras in the background just hit dead serious, just focused right in. Like they're all locked in. It was just so fucking funny because it seems like he's hearing Ghost or something going on behind him.
That almost sounds like a bit.
It does seem like a bit. I don't know. That was it. The reason I didn't care for Fallout as much is because I had to transcribe that movie, like type out every single word of dialogue like 3 separate times because we kept getting updated features. So I was like, I've had enough of this fucking movie. I'm fucking over this movie. That's it. So we start this one in a Russian sub, the Sevastopol, out in the Bering Sea. And all you really need to know about this scene is that the entity is aboard, or at least the source code is aboard this Russian sub.
Yeah.
And it's very much the hunt for Red October. Like I love the way like it starts in Russian and then it slowly switches to English. That's straight out of Red October. And the entity makes it seem like there's a secondary sub that's going to attack them. And the sub just attacks itself.
That scene is fucking intense, dude.
It's fun too, because you watch a little monitor of like a torpedo heading towards a sub, and then that sub just disappear. It's fun. It's really fun.
And also in movies all the time, obviously there's no fucking windows.
Yeah.
But like it's when you look on the radar.
You telling me subs don't have windows, JT?
I know, but it's so,
I've heard they have mesh screens, but that's all I've heard.
Yeah, but it's I don't know, it's terrifying to me is what I'm trying to say, is that like on the sonar, like something is right next to you or something.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't see it.
JT's the kind of motherfucker to get on a sub and try to roll down a window to cool off.
You can't because there's no windows.
Yeah, that's right. You can do it with the periscope that he like pokes a hole through it. Let me just get a quick peek.
I gotta get some air.
But yeah, the entity turns out is this advanced AI that makes decisions before you even need to do it. It kind of sounds like a little bit like Skynet to me. It's weird to make your 7th Mission Impossible movie basically have a faceless villain. Gabriel, I guess, is a villain, but he seems more like a henchman to the entity.
Oh, he's 100%.
Yeah.
He's chief henchman number 1.
And then it's funny because then you have Paris, Palm Clemente, is like, a junior henchman. It's like a henchman to the henchman, which
Dude, she's kind of a badass in this, though.
she's great.
I really liked her.
She's like a jester.
And I think one of the big issues that I have, especially with Gabriel in this, is that you're coming off 2 movies where Sean Harris is your villain.
Yeah.
And just crushing it on every level.
Mm-hmm.
And all credit to the guy playing Gabriel. I can't remember his name. He's not by any means a bad actor. I just think this character wasn't given much.
Yeah, Isai Morales. Yeah, they didn't flesh him out fully. Maybe the Final Reckoning does. I don't know, but
I'm gonna say I doubt it.
Probably not.
But I mean, sure, we all know the original person cast in that role, Nicholas Hoult. That being said, there was no script when he was cast, so this role probably would have been very different.
Yeah.
But he was cast before there was a script, but I was like, Nicholas Hoult as a Mission Impossible villain sounds fucking rad.
Yeah, maybe if it was in a different movie. I don't know.
Well, again,
sure.
When he was cast, this character didn't even exist.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't know. Isai Morales is fine. Yeah, I just think they haven't fleshed that character out fully. I mean, again, we're 7 films in and we're like establishing that this guy killed Ethan Hunt's first love interest or something like that. Like that should have came up at least one time.
Well, they imply that that's because if you go way back to the first one, they say that like Ethan was given a choice between prison or joining the IMF, and they imply that it's because he was framed for murdering that woman that he actually killed or whatever. I don't know. It's not, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not important.
Unnecessary.
We actually get introduced to Ethan where he's being a fucking asshole just standing in the dark to fuck with this rookie IMF agent.
Wait, is that not how you greet your DoorDash drivers?
I stand in the shadows. I let them come into the house, first of all, but all the lights are off. And then, I step out of the shadows. It's exactly how I greet them. But yeah, we get the way all these movies seem to start for the most part is a message gets sent to him. Here's your mission. Should you choose to accept it, of course.
And it's a nice little hint that Kittredge, because that's Kittredge.
Right.
So JT, Kittredge we haven't seen since the first Mission Impossible.
The first movie, yeah. They bring back a lot of people in this one. But Kittredge was in the first movie. We haven't seen him since. And I love this character. I think this actor is great.
Oh, he's so good.
He's chewing the scenery, but like bite-sized chewing. Like he's not going full ham on the thing.
He's only using his back teeth.
There you go. We get the information that there's a key that's required to get to the Sevastopol and open up the entity source code. It's this cruciform key that there's 2 parts to it. One part we saw in the opening attached around this neck of this first officer. And the other half, Ilsa killed a man and stole it. And now every powerful country in the world wants her dead so they can get that key. Because whoever owns the entity, as we're told, owns the truth. And Ilsa's got a bounty on her head. So she's hiding out in the Arabian desert. Ethan goes to find her. Man, when they pan across and Tom Cruise is laying on top of this horse, patting it to keep it quiet, and then in one fluid motion gets the horse to rise up and he's in like on a riding stance. It's fucking badass. It's such a simple little trick, but it works.
That's my wife's favorite scene.
It's great. He's like the Legolas of horses. Like he's just able to do one thing in a fluid motion and just rides up on that horse, and it's great.
I love this whole sequence. It's so fucking cool. It just makes me want to play Call of Duty.
Makes me want to play like Metal Gear Solid or something like that.
That too. It makes me want to play video games.
Sure.
Considering what she has, I thought 50 million was pretty low.
Kind of. Absolutely. I do think it's kind of low. Yeah.
JT, this is the government. They're not. They're lowballing everybody.
What did I just saw something where it was a movie where someone said, there's 4 million in crypto waiting for you. And it seemed like an incredibly low ball number I can't remember what it was now. Anyway.
Wait, are you actually doing a bit right now? Or
no, I'm not doing a bit. I did just watch a movie recently. I can't remember.
That's this movie, Dustin.
Oh, that's right.
That is this movie.
Yeah.
That's right. I've watched so many movies recently, fellas, and they're all blurred together. This was with the Ninja Turtles, right? From 2014 and Michael Bay.
I legitimately thought you were doing a bit right now.
No, I really was, and I couldn't remember.
Oh my God. I was like, that's like 20 minutes
I know.
after what we're talking about.
But there's Rebecca Ferguson. We get introduced as Ilsa Faust, and could not look any cooler, sitting on top of a weapons cache, machine gun in hand and an eye patch, just badass as hell.
It looks like they shot this on the set of Dune 2.
Absolutely. Yeah. It also looks like it's like they haven't yelled, action yet. And she's just kind of just sitting there and the camera was on her. I love just how casual she's sitting here waiting for everything to go.
With just the biggest sniper rifle.
I know, God.
And look, eye patches are still cool.
Oh, they're always cool. Just like smoking, eye patches will always be cool.
And if you're smoking with an eye patch,
Brother.
You're the coolest motherfucker to ever live.
you're one jukebox kick away from being the coolest motherfucker to ever exist.
If you can flip the coin and it just lands in the jukebox.
Oh,
Oh
my
my
God.
God.
While wearing an eye patch and smoking it and the cigs hanging from your mouth.
So what do we think, fellas? Rebecca Ferguson in this franchise, maybe top 10 hottest women on screen of all time.
She's legitimately my favorite Mission Impossible character.
Her
introduction in Rogue Nation is
I was just about to say that yellow slip she has on.
the hardest.
Oh my God. JT, you've at least seen that image, right? Of her with the gun in the yellow dress. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh my God. I gotta show you this because it'll make you a changed man.
It's not even that it's like hot or whatever. It's just fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like it is like that is just the coolest fucking woman ever right there.
I would also argue it is very hot.
Yeah, it gives like badass like Kill Bill vibes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I really like it.
Also, sniping in a sandstorm, pretty fucking badass, I gotta say.
True.
So she fakes being killed here. We'll come back to this. It's kind of unfair to have a scene where Ilsa dies, quote unquote, and we know she's not dead because the movie immediately tells us she's not. But then to kill her off, an hour later, it feels unfair.
Yeah. Like again, all respect to her for like wanting to, because she, I think during like towards the end of Fallout when they were filming, she was like 7 months pregnant.
Right. Yeah.
So, she's like, I mean, she's got she's doing that Silo show. She's got the Dune movies. She's
Mhm.
got like kids now. She's like, I can't do this shit anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So all respect to her, but the movie definitely suffers without her, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's not like I can just stop what I'm doing and go film in the desert for 2 weeks.
For 2 different movies, go film in the desert.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, we cut to Kittredge and the CIA, and they're all kind of just explaining what the entity is to, I think he's the National Director of Intelligence, Cary Elwes, introduced in this movie. And they're just basically like, yeah, anybody that has this can in real time, if you have the entity, you own the truth, basically. So every major country in the world is after this key that Ilsa had, that Tom Cruise then takes. And this was surprising to me because this is like 20 years after the fact, but Cary Elwes looks exactly the same as he did in that first Saw movie. The man has not aged at all.
No.
And then I got to ask you, Mally, because you've seen Fallout and you may know, is Angela Bassett supposed to be like the president in the world now in this movie?
She is.
Okay.
Yeah. That's, again, I don't know if she actually had scenes in this movie or not.
Uh-huh.
No, she did have scenes in this movie and they were cut out. But yeah, she is the president.
It's so funny because the only indication we get of her is there's a framed photo behind Cary Elwes in this scene. It's her in front of an American flag.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, all right.
Okay. Also, I think they mentioned it, but it was kind of brief. They know what the entity is at this point because everybody is typing on typewriters.
Yeah.
Like in that room.
Yeah, the CIA is basically like, look, we got to go offline. We got to go analog.
I'd quit my fucking job if I had to hear type like 100 typewriters going all day.
I think this movie, again, there's basically no subtlety to it. I think it's just Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie being like, we got to go analog. We got to go back to the old ways of doing things. Even the characters in the movie are like, we got to go analog. Nothing can be digital. The entity is just this AI that'll just take over everything. But no disrespect to this guy, but this guy walks into this meeting here. Turns out it's Tom Cruise in a mask. This guy just looks like he already has a mask on. Do you guys know what I mean? Like,
100%. He does not look like a real person.
He looks like an AI generated person.
He definitely looks like the villain.
Yeah.
Because they're definitely trying to tell you that this guy is the entity.
Yeah.
Right here. Like, because they're kind of playing into it.
Plus he like doesn't blink. He doesn't move. His bone structure makes it look like he's wearing a mask. It's great casting. But this guy just slowly takes out a gas mask, puts it on himself, gives one to Kittredge, and then this will come up a lot in this time, but Tom Cruise has got this green smoke that he just flushes into a room and just knocks everybody out.
Yeah, the smoke bomb business is booming.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this stuff is, but it's green and then it knocks people out, and then it just turns white, and now we're fine.
Yep.
Like, don't worry about it.
Yep.
Well, again, JT probably isn't aware of this, but you just kind of have to roll with the crazy tech in this.
Oh no, I do. That's the thing. I'm watching and I enjoy it, but these, I don't know if you noticed, but these smoke bombs have so much force that it just almost knocks this woman out.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's almost like a running gag in the movies at this point, but the mask making briefcase is different in every movie.
Every time.
Oh, I didn't know it made the mask. I thought he just had him in the suitcase.
No, it's
it
literally a
makes the
suitcase
mask.
it's like a 3D printer, basically.
Yeah, but it does it like it operates differently in every fucking one of these movies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Tom Cruise rips this mask off so he can talk to Kittredge alone. That's the whole reason he broke in, basically. And Kittredge explains that he put the bounty on Ilsa because they need that fucking key.
Dude, just leave a message.
I know, right? He's always going rogue in these movies. It's worse than James Bond at this point. Like,
I think he's gone rogue more than James.
probably. They explain here, like, nobody even knows about his whole division, essentially. Even the people in the CIA. But yeah, Kittredge says whoever controls the entity controls the truth. And I love that Ethan goes, do you even hear yourself? I'm like, man, this movie just lacks all the subtlety of the world. He even says no one should be in control of the entity. I'm like, amen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think what makes Ethan, his character's not infallible. Like, there's often times where he loses. Like, obviously he doesn't lose the big moments when it matters, but there's something so charming about Ethan Hunt being like this impossibly good person. Like, never once thinks of anyone other than his friends. Like, he doesn't think, but never puts himself before them. And like the fact that he's always on the right side of history, and we're 7 movies in, and they're still like, I don't know, we can't be trusted. You know, it's so fucking weird.
Yeah, it's like, guys, he like just if he's gonna go do something crazy, just let him do it. He's usually right.
Like the fact that Shea Whigham and his partner in this movie are like, they're debating over him, basically. Like, I don't know, this guy's a loose cannon. Like, he's been right. How many nuclear bombs has he stopped at this point?
God, I think we're in double digits at this point, honestly.
I think so. Yeah, and then 28 minutes before the opening credits, this movie rules. I love that. And I love that in order to leave the building Ethan snuck into, he has to leave Kittredge and shoot him with a tranquilizer. Like, it's so fucking funny.
That's such a good bit when he's like, how exactly do you plan to leave? And he turns around wearing his face. He's like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
That theme song always fucking rules.
Which it makes me think that maybe we haven't seen it, but this has definitely happened before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's like, God damn it.
This is his MO.
Oh, but JT, you really need to see the other movies.
Speaking of that, since you haven't seen them, what do you think about these opening credits that literally spoil what's going to happen in the movie you're about to watch? Did you even catch that?
No, I'm going to go use the bathroom. And I just let him play.
God damn it, JT.
I imagine you maybe would have thought, oh, this is from older movies or something. But no, this is what this movie franchise is known for.
Well, I mean, watching it looks like I don't know what's real and what's AI.
Hey.
Oh, hey, okay.
Because things are just glitching out.
Hey, that's not a bad observation. But yeah, this is what this franchise is known for, is like, we're going to give you little glimpses of what you're about to see, but none of it actually spoils any of the plot or anything. So
Yeah, no, I don't like that. Like if that's what they were going for, I don't want that.
no, that's how all these movies are basically. It's
Yeah.
like,
Oh.
we're going to give you little glimpses. Just, I think the TV show maybe even did that too.
Well, even so, let's take like 007's opening credits, where it's like this stylized like art and stuff, but
Uh-huh.
it's still themes of what you're about to watch.
Uh-huh.
That's completely different.
Yeah.
That looks cool as fuck. This showing actual scenes, that's a choice.
It's a choice. I kind of applaud him for it, because it's like, we can give you so much and yet you're not going to know anything about what you're about to see. Like, we're just
Yeah.
giving you glimpses of stuff.
It's almost like another trailer.
Kind of.
It is kind of, and we're 28 minutes into the fucking movie too, so
Yeah.
that makes it even better. But yeah, we get introduced to Shea Whigham, and is there a more dependable character actor than this guy? Because I love when he shows up and stuff.
No, dude, you throw Shea Whigham in something, I'm going to be so fucking seated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they get intel that there is a buyer for the other half of the key that's going to be at this Abu Dhabi airport, and they're going to intercept him and impersonate him, get on the plane where that guy was going, and find out where this key goes, basically, because they don't really have that much information.
I love that fucking line that Shea Whigham has right here in the plane where he's like, he's just a fucking agent of chaos.
Yep.
Like,
What is he has a whole rundown on him. He's like,
he does.
He's a master of infiltration, deception.
It's so fucking funny.
Is it Rogue Nation where he gets out of like the torture thing that he's tied to by like doing the upwards kicks? Do you remember what I'm talking about? That like it's seemingly impossible. He's got like his arms tied behind his back against this pole.
Oh yes, it's the beginning of Rogue Nation.
It's
Yep.
so fucking funny. But yeah, he's identified this guy in the airport, this buyer, and someone pickpockets him, and it turns out it's Haley Atwell, and she has stolen the other half of the key. And at the same time, because Benji and Luther are at the airport guiding Tom Cruise, they get a report that there may be a potential nuclear bomb being smuggled onto the same plane that the buyer was heading onto. So while Ethan is trying to get the key back from Grace, Haley Atwell's character, Benji is trying to basically disarm a potential nuclear bomb.
Yeah, it should be noted I watched this entire sequence at an airport. It was troubling.
So JT, Simon Pegg got introduced, I think, in the third movie, right?
Yes, he's introduced in the third.
And Ving Rhames has been around since the beginning. This is like his team, basically.
Well, and Ving Rhames is not in the fourth one, Ghost Protocol, except for one scene at the very end.
Right.
Which they are an absolute joy to see on screen.
Yes.
Like their interactions and everything. It's
Oh my God, dude. They're so good together.
Yeah.
No, like Ving Rhames, like he fits so well into his mold. And then Simon Pegg was originally potentially supposed to be Ricky Gervais. And I feel like they got the lesser, they made the right choice here for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd feel about Ricky Gervais in 7 of these goddamn movies. But no, I think they're a powerhouse fucking team. It's so great. So yeah, this nuclear bomb potentially that Benji is trying to disarm is a riddle. Basically, it's this device with a bunch of riddles on it that the entity supposedly has established.
Some Da Vinci Code shit is what it is.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, such a cool way. Top 10 coolest bomb. You know, like,
Thanks for watching Watch Mojo. Here's the top 10 coolest bombs.
JT's looking at that bomb. He's like, man, I can't read, but it looks cool as shit.
dude, it looks dope as hell. When that thing came out, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then with like the riddles and it saying essentially greeted Simon Pegg's character.
Mm-hmm. So as I mentioned, Tom Cruise is trying to talk to Haley Atwell and trying to convince her to give her the key back. Says, you don't know what you're getting yourself into and everything like that. Says that he recognizes her, like the look in her eyes, basically, like he understands what she's doing. Meanwhile, Luther is changing the appearance of everyone in this airport to kind of look like Tom Cruise so that Shea Whigham and his crew, through surveillance footage, are tracking him down. It turns out it's just some random guy. It's a really funny bit.
Dude, when they try to take his mat, like he's just like touching people's faces.
Yeah, they just touching people's faces.
Trying to take the mask off. This shit's so good.
But as he's trying to get out with Haley Atwell to avoid Shea Whigham and his crew, he sees Esai Morales very briefly and says, oh, no, it can't be. I just saw a ghost, basically. And they managed to disarm the bomb, which is not actually a bomb, but it is a way, I think it's easy to overlook, but it's a way for the entity to capture Benji's voice to then use later on in the movie by imitating him.
But also it shows how dangerous it is by letting even if it wasn't a bomb, a real bomb, bomb-shaped thing
bomb-shaped thing
go through the airport and get on a plane.
Yeah. So Haley Atwell eventually steals the other half of the key back. She pickpockets it from him again, gets on a plane to Rome and leaves Tom Cruise there. Shea Whigham catches him, and we got to have it at least once in a movie. Ethan escapes by running along the roof of this airport and getting the fuck out of there. He calls for the mission to be aborted.
Dude, this movie, I almost had to like jot down who had one half of what key. And
I know.
Yeah, it does. There's a sleight of hand going throughout this entire movie, and it was really hard to keep up with.
It's funny you say that. So going back to Fallout again. So they, again, kind of wrote that movie as they shot it. And they knew that. So the movie starts with them like in these 3 plutonium cores.
Right.
And they knew at the end of the movie there were going to be 2 nuclear bombs they had to disarm. So they spent they were, for so much of the shoot, they're just like, how the fuck, we start with 3, but then we get to 2.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do? And like, that was the one where Tom Cruise broke his ankle.
Oh.
And that ankle break kind of saved that movie because it gave them 2 weeks to figure out the plot, basically.
Yeah.
I guess that works.
And then they finally figured out, they're like, oh, the third one's like a down payment.
Yeah.
But like McQuarrie struggled so much with like, how do we get from 3 bombs to 2 from the beginning to the end of the movie.
That ankle break is fucking rough to watch.
Yeah.
Well,
Because it's, JT, if you don't know, him jumping from one building to the other and breaking his ankle is the shot in the movie.
yeah.
Wait, I remember that because I remember the steel frame
Yeah.
going around the internet.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, I gotta say, I'm a simple man. I see Haley Atwell in a movie, I'm happy.
Oh, yeah.
I love Grace. I think Grace is a great character.
She just, again, I'm just so ride or die for Ilsa that I'm just like, so many of these scenes would be better if it was Ilsa.
Maybe.
So my argument for Atwell is that there's a lot of scenes where she is legit terrified. Like she has this is not her world.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't do gunfights. She doesn't do car chases. She doesn't do, and there's scenes where she looks genuinely terrified.
Yeah.
I mean, even though he's Ethan's saying, just listen to what I say and we'll live, she is still just like, I'm done. I really like that relationship.
Well, I love in the middle of the car chase, she just stops the car. She's like, nope,
Yep.
nope, you're driving. I'm not doing this.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I would do.
Well, what makes it so interesting is like we're 7 movies in and we've got glimpses of it and we kind of piece it together, but we never really laid out how insane that the IMF, the Impossible Mission Force, is. And like Tom Cruise just kind of accepts all the shit that he does. It's like, oh, this is just the job. We get in cars and we ride down the steps of Venice or whatever. Like, I like that there's this character that is kind of this outside force that's getting introduced to it for the first time. Be like, this is fucking bananas.
Yeah.
You guys are crazy. I love that she's a pickpocket, so she could get out of handcuffs and fucking handcuff him to the steering wheel of a car and just leave him there. I like that Grace is so against this whole thing up until the end of the movie. Like that, it just works for me really well.
Yeah.
But I just want to let you guys know, I would have gotten everyone killed when it comes to answering these riddles. We all would have been dead if there was a real bomb in there.
No, we know.
Okay, just making sure you guys know.
That's why this podcast doesn't work for the government.
Absolutely.
We would all be dead 5 minutes into the first fucking mission.
I think the Tomorrow one I've heard before. So I knew that one.
I knew the Tomorrow one, but none of the other things. Yeah. So yeah, they get on a plane to Italy to intercept Grace, who gets captured by an anonymous tip to the local authorities. They say, oh, we've expected a woman to show up with a bunch of fake passports. Ethan pretends to be her lawyer to get the key back. And she pockets the key on a man she met on the flight for safekeeping.
Are we just like all agreeing that pocket is a thing? I'd never heard that before this movie, and I was like, oh, we're just casually throwing around this made up fucking phrase.
I mean, you're putting something there.
No, I get it.
It makes sense, yeah.
It's just they keep throwing it around like it's a thing that people say casually.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a lot easier than saying she stealthily put the key in his pocket.
It's a nice little term to put that in there, yeah. But pocket makes sense. Yeah, I agree. I don't think I've ever heard it before, but
Yeah, I've never heard it either, but I like it.
it works. And then, Gabriel also shows up looking for this key. So Grace pretends like Ethan, I don't know, touched her inappropriately or something and runs out the building while he chases after her and the police chase after him and Gabriel chases after all of them.
Anybody can be a lawyer, right?
I'm not a lawyer, but I think technically anybody can represent somebody.
Oh, okay.
If that's the question you're asking.
So I could just say like, oh yeah, I'm representing the fugitive.
Yeah, you could. I mean, people represent themselves without law degree, so I can't imagine why it would be any different.
Shit. All right, boys.
He probably had some fake documentation made.
Probably. But yeah, Gabriel shows up and stabs this dude in the hand.
Brutal.
Asking for the key.
I just want to note, literally like a day ago, I ordered a knife just like those.
Pretty cool.
So watching this movie, I was like, hell yeah. I'm not going to do any of this shit with them. But like, hell yeah.
It's cool as shit.
No, yeah, this little chase scene's pretty great. Haley Atwell, when she gets like sideswiped, hits that airbag fucking hard. The stunts in this movie are insanely good.
Hard as shit, dude.
But Ethan shows up. Man, this shot of these two guys that are there to shoot Haley Atwell and this motorcycle coming in from off frame and just running them down is so fucking funny.
And it's completely silent.
Uh-huh.
It's so funny.
Dude, it's so good.
It's so fucking funny.
I will say, this is maybe one of the funniest Mission Impossibles.
Yeah. Intentionally funny, at least.
It has some great bits.
Yes, absolutely. And then Shea Whigham shows up, gives Ethan some handcuffs, says, handcuff yourself. I love that he handcuffs himself to Haley Atwell. I saw a thing, I don't know if Kristen McQuarrie confirmed it or not, but I saw a thing that said that like they were very inspired by like Buster Keaton in this movie and like specifically the general.
That wouldn't be surprising me. Like, again, listening to this podcast, dude, he has some like deep cut references.
Mm-hmm.
He admits some of them are not intentional. He's like, I can't remember specifics, but there's one scene in Fallout. He's like, I didn't realize till we were in editing that he was like, oh shit, that's just this shot from this movie that I completely stole.
Mm-hmm. No, I could definitely see like the physical comedy, like the slapstick stuff through this. The stunt work that they do, especially when it comes to the train at the end, feels very much like the General. But yeah, Palm Clementine shows up in this Humvee. She's almost a silent henchman, which I kind of think would have worked great. But she got a little asides here and there. And we continue this chase through the streets of Italy. We've got, Tom Cruise and Haley Atwell in this car. We've got Palm Clementine and hers. We got Shea Whigham and his partner in there. Not to mention the local police. And they're all just destroying every other vehicle here. They end up, because Tom's like, we got to ditch this car and get a new one. He ends up getting this tiny little Fiat, basically. And
it's so fucking funny. I love, they kind of undercut, because it's like, okay, badass chase sequence about to happen. He guns it immediately into a wall.
Absolutely. I mean, the little Fiat thing, it's got to be like an incompetence joke, right?
Oh, it absolutely is.
I don't know how to start one of these. It's different every time. And then her be like, it's okay. It's all right.
She's like, it's okay. It's okay.
It's just the way that they're handcuffed together, because she's sitting in the passenger seat and I think she's handcuffed to his left arm. It just looks like her hand is on his dick the whole car ride. It has to be. That's the whole point of it.
It makes it funny because Ethan Hunt would definitely know how to drive this vehicle.
Yes.
There's no reason why he shouldn't.
I like how JT saying this like he's seen this character in anything else.
This man drove a motorcycle off of a mountain and parachuted down. You tell him he can't drive a Fiat?
You hadn't seen that happen yet, JT.
He's like me and my old time pal, Ethan Hunt.
He actually calls him E-Money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They go down the steps of Venice, much like, again, that we see in Fast X. And I love that as this little Fiat is rolling, somehow they end up switching seats in the car. I thought that was a great bit. That's
my favorite joke in the whole movie, because they are as confused as we are when it happens.
And she's just like, oh, no. No.
And it's very easy to miss, but damn near this whole car chase for I think it's like 10 minutes long. There's almost no score to it, which I think is super impactful.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, even like when it gets goofy, it's just them like doing donuts and stuff, and the score is just missing. I don't know. It's a very inspired choice, because these movies are almost wall to wall music.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, they escape down this like subway tunnel. Haley Atwell, turns out she had a paperclip and like gets herself out of the handcuffs, but handcuffs Tom Cruise at the steering wheel. Tom Cruise almost fucking dies by a subway coming through, but manages to get out at the last moment.
Again, defending Atwell here, she's not a character that is like, he just saved her life multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a character where she's like, oh yes, I'll go with you now, and we're also going to fall in love, and it's going to be great. She just saw like, no, dog, I'm not about this life. I'm leaving.
She dips at absolutely every opportunity.
Yeah.
Which she should. This is all fucking bananas crazy shit that is happening.
Yeah.
I like the little bit of him having to walk around with the steering wheel in his hand. That's pretty funny. But he gets picked up by Benji and Luther, and Ethan explains to them about Gabriel. And I like that he says he calls himself Gabriel. And I'm like, is that not just his name? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, and that's never really brought up again. I'm just like, does he?
Justin, I call myself JT.
I guess, with the grand scheme of things, they are just things we call ourselves. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ilsa's with him as well, proving that she's not dead.
What?
We get this safe house stuff where they talk about the entity and everything. And they essentially like, look, we have to go off the grid with everything. And the discussions they have around this whole thing is interesting, because they're like, they imbue AI with like a personality and agenda, and they're like, this is what it wants when they're discussing it. I'm like, I don't know. There's something about making a faceless villain, like giving it somewhat of a personality, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, they basically say that the White Widow is establishing a deal between the buyer that has the key and I think Gabriel. And they go to this club that assuming the entity put on a party. I don't know.
That is the implication, is that the entity put on this party, which is hilarious.
I hate parties, but this party looks sick as fuck.
You hate parties, huh? That's a bold stance to take. All right.
Okay, sorry, I hate clubs.
There you go.
That's different.
Yeah.
That's a much better answer. I think they just know that Grace is going to be there to broker a deal with the key. And yeah, they go to the club, Ethan and Ilsa. And of course, Gabriel's there. The White Widow's there, who's a character, JT, that gets introduced in the last movie, basically.
Who is the daughter of a character from the first movie.
Yes. He pretends to be Henry Cavill, basically.
But he doesn't know he's pretending to be Henry Cavill.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
It all makes a lot more sense when you've seen the movie.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
She pockets the key into Gabriel's pocket, right?
No.
Not into Gabriel's, no. It's the White Widow's brother.
Zola.
Right, Zola. Right.
The douchebag in the red jacket.
Yes.
I don't know how else to describe him.
Dude, what's her name is killing that marching band jacket.
Oh, Palm Clemente. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, she's great. And then, yeah, Vanessa Kirby shows up for the first time in the movie, and I'm just like, yeah. Yeah, Miss Fantastic, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Gabriel's basically like, the entity told me that all of this is going to happen exactly how it's happening. It also told me that either Ilsa or Grace has to die tonight. It just knows it's going to happen. It's run through 14,600,000 variations or whatever Dr. Strange says in that movie and knows that this is the most likely outcome. And yeah, Grace runs away and Ilsa runs away and Ethan chases after Grace, and the entity pretending to be Benji leads Ethan into a trap.
I do love that. I do love that.
That was a scary, that was a very terrifying, moment.
Yeah.
Just taking over his voice and leading him everywhere.
What's scary about it is that AI can do that now.
Yeah.
Like when I worked at, I won't say what company it was, but I worked at a company previously where AI just really starting to be able to imitate voices. It can imitate specific people too, like celebrities, and like, get it to try this and just see if maybe we could convince that person to then do it after they hear it already. I'm like, the ethicality of it all.
That's fucking weird. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, generally, how are we going to be able to know if anything is true anymore? Like, why bother living at this point? I don't. It can do video now. Like the Will Smith eating spaghetti thing is almost perfect. It can already do voices. Like, why bother living? I don't trust anything ever again.
Oh man, spaghetti sounds good right now.
It really does.
I'm starting to think that the Tin Hat people had it right.
I love how Dustin's having an existential crisis.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Mally and I was like, yo, spaghetti though.
I was like,
How do you know that spaghetti's real? How do you know?
We just hungry.
Dude, I'm full as fuck off the spaghetti. That was definitely real.
I feel like Cypher in the fucking Matrix. I know the steak is fake. You can't trick me. I know it's not real.
I had steak last night. I can confirm that shit was real.
The entity leads Ethan into this narrow alleyway into a fight with Paris and her goons.
This fight scene is also awesome.
Oh, it's great.
In the tiny alleyway.
So my only note about that was it's one of the best fight scenes in the movie to me.
Mm-hmm.
But again, not as many jump cuts as some old Liam Neeson movie or something. But
Yeah.
if he had more longer shots, I would have loved it even more.
Sure. No, I can't disagree with that. I mean, we're kind of getting out of that shaky cam Jason Bourne era style of editing for action movies, and I think we're in a better era for that stuff now. But yeah, Grace gets led right to Gabriel on this bridge, and she tries to fight him, and surprisingly holds up pretty well, I think, against this fucking psychopath.
Which kind of bothers me because I'm like, but she's just a pickpocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has not put any fight in. We haven't seen any kind of fight out of her. And the first fight we do is against Gabriel.
Yeah, he should take her out a lot quicker than he does. But Ilsa shows up to fight him. And
Worst fucking scene in the movie.
he puts a knife through her. And Ilsa dies on the bridge. Ethan cradles her. It's a sad scene we forgot to mention too is earlier they're both talking about this is their first time in Venice and it's beautiful and they have a nice hug.
They hold hands on the boat.
Yeah. There's no
really sweet. Yeah.
There's no real sexual tension between the two, which I kind of like. I like that it's just a platonic friendship.
Disagree.
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't like that. I'm just saying I like that the way they do it in this movie.
Yeah, it seems like they're in a relationship that they've been in a while.
Yeah.
But it's not like a because of their lives, because she's basically British Ethan.
Yeah.
They're like, we could fuck, but because of our lifestyles, we can't.
Right.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah, we couldn't do it.
But if they say there's no tension, disagree.
I do like Paris also going full Xenia on a top and trying to strangle Ethan with her thighs. I thought that was pretty great.
Yeah.
And he chooses to spare Paris's life instead of killing her, which will come into play later on. We find out that there's going to be this final deal. This buyer is going to buy the key on the Orient Express of all places tomorrow.
That's where I do all my big transactions.
I like that the plan is too. They're like, Grace, we're going to show you. It's going to be you as the White Widow. Ethan's going to jump on this train with his motorcycle. Like, I like that we see it. And she goes, "What the fuck are y'all talking about?"
Yeah.
Oh no! Wait, no. The original plan was that he was going to wear the mask of Zola or something like that. They were going to be on there together.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I like that we see it, and then she cuts it off. Like, no, we're not doing any of that shit. What are you talking about?
See, when I saw that, I thought it was going to be like an Ocean's movie thing where they talk about the plan, and all that was missing was a record scratch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
Which they kind of do that in Fallout,
Yeah.
where you think, like, they kind of show you this flash forward of what the mission is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a lot more serious in tone in Fallout for sure.
Yeah. And I like that in the scene where Ethan offers Grace the choice to join his team because she's in the same predicament that they were all in. I love this exchange where she's like, I could run, and Ving's like, yeah, but what kind of a life is that? Your life will be measured in hours. And she says, well, if I stay, you'll protect me. And Ethan says, no, I can't promise you that. And I love him telling her, but I swear your life will always matter more to me than my own. And I'm like, why am I tearing up in a fucking Mission Impossible movie?
yeah. Well, he probably told Isla the same, like, or something close to the same thing.
Ilsa, yeah.
He didn't.
He did not, because she is
but she, again, she's basically British Ethan.
Yeah, she gets disavowed from MI6.
Right, but that's why he's saying, like, I can't promise you anything, obviously.
Sure. I get that.
Compared to what just happened.
Yeah.
Because that's why I love that character so much, because she's always treated like she's always Ethan's equal.
Yes. Yeah, they never have a one-up on one another, basically. But I like that this character, that like Ethan he never gives up. And I think that's what makes him such an interesting character. Like even at this point where he's lost this person that means a lot to him. And I love the honesty of, I cannot guarantee you that you will not die doing any of this shit, but I will make sure my damnedest it doesn't. Like it's a very great vulnerable moment for this character. And Tom Cruise sells it, man. I believe him.
Yeah.
I would follow that. If Ethan Hunt was real and he told me that, I'd be like, all right, I'll be on this fucking train. You want me to jump off a motorcycle? Sure. Okay. Where do you want me to land? I would do that shit for him. And then, yeah, I love that the mask making scene just shorts out for no fucking reason.
And it's never addressed again.
I know, because like in every other movie, something like in Fallout, Henry Cavill uses it to knock a guy out.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it's broken. But this one,
it just breaks.
It could have been like, oh, the entity destroyed it or something. Like there could have been some connection.
I was just about to say, like, does it connect to Wi-Fi for
I
any reason?
I don't know. And then, yeah, we get the scene where we get the Orient Express going down the tracks, and Ethan is trying to catch up to it with his dirt bike, but Gabriel's on board, knocks out the conductor and his crew, and essentially breaks the speed lever off this thing. So it's running wild. Ethan can't keep up with it to jump on board. Grace is on the train, already in the White Widow's mask, hides in her cabin, knocks her out, pretends to be her. And Benji is driving along, trying to find a way to get Tom Cruise aboard. The one thing, it's played as a joke, but Benji's like, okay, well, I'll let the car drive while I look on the satellite for you to find a way to get on this train. He gives the car like a knowing look when he puts it in like self-driving mode, but there's no fucking way if I knew the entity would be able to control anything connected to a computer that I would let it take over.
Not a chance in hell.
Okay, yeah. So I thought in my head, I was like,
this is how Benji dies.
yeah, this is how Benji dies. And he doesn't think about it because, again, it's a self-driving car.
Mm-hmm.
But that's definitely connected to the internet.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
For sure.
And it also turns out that Carrie Elways is on this train, and turns out he's also a piece of shit.
Yeah, because if you cast him in a movie these days, he's a bad guy.
Yep. It's like Danny Houston or something. If he's cast in the movie, he's the villain. We know.
And for those of y'all who are following these locations and everything, Shea Whigham and his partner have been at every location.
Every single one of them.
Every single location they have been at.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that they're just, they don't know why they're there.
Yeah.
They're just following someone like, we have no idea what's going on, but we're going to get him this time.
Yeah. And then they have a conversation. It's like, well, what if Ethan's not a bad guy?
I like it. I like this stuff, man. But I also like that they're always like one step behind.
Yeah.
Like they're at the airport, they're here, they're at the club and everything. Like it's pretty great.
Shea Whigham's just like, listen, we think he might be here, and nothing's going to stop me from touching faces until I figure out who he is.
I will touch every face in this train till I find that. So real quick though, the conversation that they have, though. I like the line where his partner's like, or Shea Whigham was like, I'm starting to think, whose side are you on? He's like, well, at the end of the world, everybody's.
Yeah.
I was like, hell yeah.
Great line.
That's a good line. That's a good line.
Great line. And then, yeah, Grace, again posing as the White Widow, makes a deal with the buyer, who turns out to be Kittredge, to turn over the key. And she makes a deal as the White Widow, saying, okay, I'll only hand over this key to you if this Grace person, who I don't know, have never met, and I certainly couldn't tell you anything about her, if you clear her record and wire over $100 million to her, so she can have a clean escape, a clean life after all of this. And Kittredge agrees, and they start the money transfer, and she stops it at the very end. And while this is happening, Gabriel, as we mentioned, is on the train. He goes to talk to Carrie Elways.
Yeah, he's around here doing stuff somewhere.
Mm-hmm. He's basically like, oh, well, I'm the only person in the world that knows where this key leads to. And Gabriel kills him. And then this is the part that I know why it's in the movie. I know you need to set up some way, but it's kind of clunky, where he kills Carrie Elways and then he turns around and he tells Palm Clementine, the entity told me you will betray me because Ethan spared your life, and then tries to kill her. No, you kill her first, and if you want to tell her, you tell her as she's dying, all of this stuff, but the hubris of it all, you know?
Yeah.
And it turns out that the entity is going to be right, because she does end up betraying him at the end. And then, yeah, we get the infamous motorcycle jump, where the only way for Tom Cruise to actually get on board this train, instead of just hopping a crevice or something, or a hill to get on top of the train, he's got to jump off a mountain.
Yeah, which Benji does not tell him. So Benji's leading him up. Like, what Ethan thinks is that it's just another path to get onto the train.
Right.
So he's just blindly following directions from Benji. And then he's like, I think I made a wrong turn or something. He's like, nope.
That's it.
Nope, that's it. Because he is at the peak of this massive cliff.
Yep.
And then, again, Benji's under so much pressure. And he's all like, I don't know, man. Figure it out. You have a parachute, don't you? Like, I'm busy.
Man, you would love the foot chase scene that had fallen out, where like Benji's trying to guide him through the city and like trying to catch up to Henry Cavill. And he's like,
oh my God, it's so funny.
Oh, go down this road. Go down this way. Go down this way. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. I had the tablet upside down. Sorry. Go this way instead. And he's like, why'd you stop? He's like, well, I'm in a building. I got to jump out a window. He's like, okay, well, jump.
And then it cuts to Benji, who realizes he's looking at a top-down view.
Yep.
And then he rotates it. He's like, oh.
Oh, I had it in 2D. My bad.
It sounds like AI Benji from earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was just throwing out directions.
And then, yeah, man, this jump, they just don't make movie stars like Tom Cruise anymore.
What if the entity saw all the other Mission Impossible movies?
You know what?
Oh, shit.
I love that the score cuts out when he does this jump. And then when it finally, like, the sound kicks back in, and it's just Tom Cruise at maximum G-force going, I'm trying to get away from this mountain.
I wish the entity did have a voice at one point, and it was James Spader.
Oh, that would be great. No strings on me, Ethan.
That would have been the best.
Remind me why Grace decides not to take the money. I can't recall. Isn't it like, oh, you'll have leverage or something like that? I couldn't remember.
I don't care.
All right. It's really not that important. I just didn't know if maybe you guys remembered.
Well, the line that she used was, I realized that this key isn't the only thing I'd be selling.
Right.
Because she's trying to get whatever the key unlocks. Like, they don't know what it is yet.
Yes. Yeah. No one seems to really know other than Gabriel and maybe Carrie Elways in that point. But yeah, she tries to get out, but Zola catches her, demands that she hand over the key. And then, man, Ethan destroys this guy that's about to shoot Grace because he flies in on a parachute through one of his windows.
Well, it's kind of the same joke that he does with the motorcycle earlier.
Yeah.
Only this time he uses himself.
And dude, the sound design, everything, this impact is so fucking heavy. This dude goes flying out this window. And I love that he's like, he doesn't know where he's at for a moment. He's got like a light head.
Look out, man!
Yeah, exactly.
God, if he had screamed that as he came busting through the window. Also, impeccable aim.
Yes.
How do you aim like that in a parachute?
And honestly, I kind of just want some of these like action heroes like this to be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
at like they're panicking and then they run into the window and then take them out.
Yeah. And then, yeah, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go stop Gabriel. You stop this train. And I think one of my favorite qualities about Ethan Hunt is how much he believes in his crew, because he tells Grace, you got to stop this train. She goes, how do I do that? And he says, you'll find a way. And I don't feel like that's him like dumping the responsibility on her. I think he truly believes that she will find a way.
You need to stop this train. How do I do that? Have you ever seen Back to the Future 3?
No, but I've seen Unstoppable. That didn't go too well for them.
Okay, first thing you need to do, shave your head.
And then, yeah, of course, Gabriel's on top of the train waiting for Ethan for a fist fight.
Why is he on top of the train at this point? Do we know?
I know, because he's waiting for the timer to fall off the train to land on that truck.
Oh, right.
The entity told him to be up there. That's why.
Yeah, that's all that matters. It's the entity.
But he also has his back to the direction the train's going. And we see that this train like goes through tunnels and shit. They're playing a dangerous game.
Can we also just talk about the naming your all-powerful AI the entity? That's like Avatar with the unobtainium.
Yep, it sure is.
Just like we couldn't have come up with anything else.
We'll come back and replace that. This is the attempt name. We'll first draft this thing and we'll come back and replace it. And then they forgot.
Yeah.
And then Shea Whigham runs into Kittredge and tries to take his mask off. It's a great bit.
It's my favorite running gag in this movie.
And then he ends up on top of the train too as everybody's fighting. And we forgot to mention, Luther tells him before they even start this mission, he's like, look, you cannot kill Gabriel because he's the only one that knows where this key goes, what it opens. You have to keep him alive. Are you going to be able to do that? Are you going to be able to put aside your emotions? And it's pretty great because at this point, Ethan has the upper hand and he is about to just straight up murder this guy. He's about to just jam a knife through his throat.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that Luther just kind of like fucks off for the whole third act.
Well, because he can't sit down anywhere. So that's why he's got to exit the movie.
I also like the dialogue that Shea Whigham and his partner have with the other guy talking about, what are you doing here? And he's all like, I'm not here.
Kittredge?
Kittredge. Yeah. And then Tom Cruise, again, saves his life and all this stuff. And he goes back in. He's like, what's going on? He's all like, something that you don't need to know. Or since you're not on this train, it's none of your business.
Yeah.
Such a sick line.
But Gabriel escapes. He jumps off the train and lands in this flatbed truck. And Ethan managed to get the key back by pocketing. He kind of does like Indiana Jones at the beginning of a Raiders. He pockets his lighter in there and takes the key. And man, Paris ends up saving him too in a little bit here. But it's just interesting. He got the information he needed from Paris as well as getting the key from. Like it all kind of comes together pretty well. Gabriel has rigged this track to blow up. That's on across this bridge. This train's out of control. And we had this great action sequence of the cars of the train, falling one by one, and Ethan and Grace having to escape up them. When he gets to the kitchen train, man, all I could think about was just hot oil sliding everywhere.
Oh, dude. God. That one's rough.
I want to see a behind the scenes on that. Like, that shit looked wild. This entire train crash to me, like the Lost World Jurassic Park train dangling situation.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's so cool.
It almost feels like a hat on the hat at the end of this movie, but it's a great stunt piece, so I can't fault it for that.
Yeah, because it's like, all right, so we're saved from one train cart. We ran across the roof and jumped to the next one. It's like, oh, it's still going.
Yep.
Let's go through it.
And it also is like to get Haley Atwell more into the IMF. Like it helps sell that ending, I think, because she's been through hell basically doing this shit. But yeah, they get saved by Palm Clementine. She tells them about the Sevastopol, and the movie kind of just ends. Mally, do you want to recap what happens right here at the end?
So pretty much Haley kind of helps Tom get away. He, parachutes off the fucking plane or whatever. And she kind of makes this little hint about joining the IMF to Kittredge. Oh, yeah. Shea Whigham also still trying to get this man, even as he's like a mile away in a parachute. He's like, he's so far away, I can't touch his face.
Yep.
But then Tom lands next to Simon Pegg, and they're like, all right, let's go get the fucking entity.
Yeah.
In part one.
In part one of question mark.
Oh, and Palm is not dead.
Yeah. She gets knife jammed through her heart. I think Gabriel does. And Shea Whigham's partner says that they've got a pulse on her. So might see her in the next movie. I'm assuming she shows up.
But see, we're not supposed to trust him, right?
Well, Kittredge is like the face of the CIA and everything. So like he's kind of the middleman. He knows that Hunt's a good guy, but also he's been instructed to like not help him, to bring him back in and everything. He's kind of playing both sides.
Well, also he just tried to buy the key for the.
He wants it for the U.S.
Yeah.
If the U.S. wants the entity just like every other country in the world does, and he's the broker between the White Widow and the U.S. So
yeah,
he's just doing his job basically. I mean, I would not trust the United States with the entity by any means, but
oh hell no,
absolutely the fuck not.
I wouldn't call that nefarious. So. And yeah, we end on a promise of a part 2 because we see the Sevastopol at the bottom of the Bering Sea, and Ethan's on his way with the key and the know-how of how to get there. So big cliffhanger. The only real cliffhanger, or at least the continuation
in this franchise for the most part.
In this franchise, yeah.
Like again, Ghost Protocol, kind of
a little bit.
I wouldn't even call that a cliffhanger, more just a tease.
Yeah, a very, very big tease. And I think the first one kind of just ends with you have another mission coming, and that's pretty much it. But this one is like a guaranteed. The story's not over. We got another movie to go. So that's Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Is there anything you guys didn't talk about that you wanted to bring up?
Not really.
Yeah, I think I hit all my notes
that I can think of.
I did forget to mention a line that I thought was pretty funny, but when they're at the airport and Benji and Luther are trying to figure out the nuclear bomb stuff, but they don't want to tell Ethan and distract him. And then they eventually do. He's like, well, why didn't you tell me? He goes, well, we didn't want to bother you. He goes, a nuclear bomb is something you bother me with immediately.
Yeah, that's something you bother me with.
That's pretty great. Okay, well, without further ado, let's get over to Prop Cop. So if you're new to the show, Prop Cop is where we look at all the different tangible items, physical items in the movie we just discussed, and we cop one of those props for ourselves. It doesn't have to be a prop. It could be set dressing. It could be wardrobe. It could be anything. Malik, this is your pick, so you get first dibs. What prop do you want most from Dead Reckoning?
Oh, hell yeah. Shea Whigham's pompadour.
Okay. All right. That hair reaches up to heaven, so I get it.
Oh my God. It's like perfect the whole movie.
I wouldn't mind, before it breaks, the mask making machine, because I could use that for
what, Dustin?
Things.
What?
JT, what prop do you want? What prop do you want most from this movie?
You know what? I don't want to know. I've changed my mind. I don't want to know.
The cane sword.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit. That is kind of cool.
Yeah. That shit rules. A cane sword always fucking rules.
That's true. Damn. Good fucking pick.
There's a lot of extras in this movie, fellas. A lot of smaller characters, and we should be one of them. So let's talk about a bit part.
Did you not hear me?
Oh, I love her.
So I was wondering if I can go because I only got one.
Sure, why not?
And I don't want it to get taken because it's kind of prominent.
No, go ahead.
The middle-aged man that Haley Atwell flirted with on the plane.
Damn it.
Oh, that she pockets the key into?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mallet, you got a backup or?
No, that was mine.
Okay.
Sorry.
Man, I got a couple. I kind of want to be one of the guys in the Sevastopol at the beginning that gets rocketed by one of those torpedoes flying at them.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Just gets fucking railed by it.
Dude, it's so fucking funny when that torpedo hits.
Like, they are immediately dead.
It's so fun. JT, did you see this? Watch this guy right here. Just
Oh,
boom.
God,
Just
yeah.
fucking done.
I want to be that guy. Mal, if you don't have one, I have some options you could take.
Oh, please do.
You could be the guy at the airport that Shea Whigham tries to pull the mask off of, just the other guy in the blue suit.
Oh, shit, that's good, actually. That's pretty good.
All right, well, we'll stick with that one. That's a good one.
All right, I'll take it.
Well, let's do our work, fellas. Let's talk about the silver lining to Dead Reckoning Part 1. I'm going to keep calling it that until we get a Part 2. Who would like to go first?
I can go first.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, kind of, I already said it, but Shea Whigham's hair stays perfect no matter what the situation.
I want to know what product he's using. We need an endorsement.
Oh my God. Like that's not just straight pomade. There's no way.
JT?
All right, so I'm saying it because I actually already said mine too, and that is eye patches are still cool as fuck.
Hell yeah.
Okay. I actually have a real silver lining. I'm going to say that...
How were neither of those?
I'm going to say Grace has a new life now.
Are you saying eye patches aren't cool?
Yeah, what the fuck?
No, I'm not saying that. I want that on the record. Entity, if you're listening, I did not say that.
I also, I'm not a marksman of any kind.
You're not? I thought I knew that about you, but maybe, okay.
I've always thought it was best to have both eyes open.
It is. Yeah, that's a myth about the closing one eye to see better. Yeah.
But I guess the coolness of an eye patch versus your accuracy outweighs.
Yeah, you make sacrifices where you have to.
Look, if you have an eye patch,
you got to look cool.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's say this. Let's say if you're upset about the fact that you got left on a cliffhanger for the first time in this franchise and you need another movie to balance things out, let's talk about a pick-me-up alternative, aka the double feature. So what movie should people watch after they watch Dead Reckoning Part 1? Mally, what do you think?
I mean, I feel like the obvious answer is just any Mission Impossible movie. Like, go check them out.
Well, actually, I was going to ask y'all if I was to go and watch one right now after watching this one.
Rogue Nation, then Fallout.
Yeah. I mean, personally, again, 3 is my favorite, but if you enjoyed this one to any extent.
JT, did you love the Alias TV show? If so, go watch 3.
Yeah.
Because it looks like an episode of Alias.
The contrast is turned up.
The contrast is so high.
I would argue 3 may have the best villain in Philip Seymour Hoffman, but that's just me.
Oh, man. I don't know. Like, him and Sean Harris are kind of neck and neck for me.
They're competing. But yeah, 3, if you want something a little bit different, but still in this franchise, and then Rogue Nation, Fallout, if you want to stick to this kind of formula for the most part.
I would even say Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, Fallout, like those 3. That 3-movie run is kind of, I think, peak for this franchise.
Sure.
All right, fine. Fuck you, Dustin. Jesus.
Well, I was gonna say you really can't go wrong with any of them. Even 2 is a lot of fun. But my pick-me-up is Agent Cody Banks. No, I'm really just kidding.
My alternate was going to be Spy Kids. So
I'm going to go with another movie about AI, and this one, Learns to Love. And I'm going to go with Spike Jonze's Her.
Oh, nice.
There you go. What about you guys?
I am going to go with Edge of Tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
Movie rules.
Which that was that McQuarrie too?
He wrote it. He didn't direct it.
Okay, that's what I thought. I knew he had some involvement.
Yeah, I'm looking at this list that Dustin pulled up, and I completely forgot it. I was like, fuck, that's a good movie.
Dude, Edge of Tomorrow fucking rips.
Ever since like Valkyrie, he's written a lot of Tom Cruise's movies.
And I think he directed Jack Reacher, right?
He directed the first one, not the second one, I don't think. Or did he direct this? No, he didn't direct the second one. I haven't seen those Jack Reacher movies, but I heard good things.
The show's really good.
I mean, obviously Tom Cruise does not look like that character by any means.
Yep.
Because he's like 5'3" and brunette, whereas Jack Reacher is... Alan Rickman is that character.
That's his name, dude. Alan Rickman. He's like... Dude is huge.
Guys, Alan Rickman is dead. You're talking about Alan Richson.
Oh, right.
Severus Snape is not playing Reacher.
Right. Although it's hard for me, I've tried to watch the Reacher show, but it's hard for me to take that guy seriously because he'll always be the micro penis character from New Girl.
Yep.
Yes.
This shit's very funny. All right. Well, lastly, do we recommend this movie? I feel like, Mal, you were kind of on the fence about it, but would you say people should check this one out?
Again, it's not my favorite Mission Impossible movie, but it's still a Mission Impossible movie. So fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. JT, what do you think? Do you think you're going to go back and watch more of these? Do you recommend this one?
Yeah. No, like, so don't put it in the stupid action movie bubble that like I did. I haven't seen any of them for that reason. And I had a really good time with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, these movies are so fucking fun.
I agree. I also recommend it. It's just as good as all the other films in the series to me. If not, it's in the top half at least, which is surprising because considering there's barely a faceless primary villain in this thing, it still works somehow. Probably could have used a second draft, but that's fine. If this is their rough draft, it still turned out pretty fucking good. And I'm excited to see this new one. I kind of worried because a lot of people seem to be putting it towards the bottom of their list. But
yeah, that's what I've heard too. But yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. So thank you for listening, everyone. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe, rate, leave feedback wherever you're listening to us right now. If you haven't already, follow us on social media. We're on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and Lemonade. You can check out our subreddit. You can check out our website, TSLPpodcast.com.
We're on what, Lemonade?
Lemonade. We've been over this. We've been over this.
Have we?
Yeah, it's nothing.
Okay.
If you want to send us a bit part suggestion, you can do so by emailing us at the silverliningsplaylist@gmail.com or using the contact us form on our website. And don't forget to check out our Patreon if you want more of the show at patreon.com/silverliningsplaylist. When this episode comes out, the last Secret of the Dudes episode that came out, speaking of the aforementioned Alan Richson, we did the first of the Michael Bay produced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where he plays Raphael.
Oh, yeah.
And hot take, he does a pretty good job. But that is a 7-day free trial plus only $1 a month after that, and you get a ton of bonuses. So make sure you check that out.
Wait, which one does he play Raphael in?
Well, I'm assuming the second one too, but the first one for sure, the Michael Bay produced.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck me. I didn't know that.
He's pretty fucking good in them. So Nathan's pick is coming up next for what we're talking about next week. And obviously he's not here, but he did leave us a message with our DoorDash driver. I do know it's going to self-destruct after 10 seconds, but here's the clue that he sent in for us.
Hey fellas, I'm recording this from deep below the ocean surface in a nuclear submarine. But I'll be back next week. And before we watch next week's movie, I just need y'all to answer one question.
Uh-oh.
Baby, do you like my sound? Let's buzz. My wife.
Okay.
I hated every second of that. Oh my God.
I think you're going to hate next week's movie too. But that's all for this week. Thank you for listening, everyone. Please tune in next week for some rockabilly shit that I'm sure we're going to be getting into. But until then, rest in peace, Oatmeal, and I guess Ilsa Faust as well.
Oh, it hurts.
And as always, listen to me. You're dead. You stay dead. I was be talking to myself, by the way. I gotta get the fuck out.
Are you okay? I'm trying to get away from this mountain!
Jesus Christ, that was a long one. Anyway, if you're still here, thanks for listening. And remember, you can always check out our back catalog for over 100 episodes of the show. Like, subscribe, and leave feedback if you want. And tune in next week for another one. Laters!